Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about Mark Meadows' very important date with the federal court coming up Monday, August 28th. So, Meadows, right away, the day after he was indicted, moved to put this case into federal court. Even not, it showed he was already out of lockstep with Trump, who would prefer to delay things. But this is definitely his strategy, and it really is a two-part strategy. What he wants to do is get it removed to federal court, which is one procedural thing where it's supposed to be there, but it's the same case, state law, state prosecutors actually prosecuting, et cetera, but just in federal court. But he then is looking to the second step, which is a related step where because he was acting, is his argument, as a federal officer, he should receive immunity under the doctrine of the supremacy clause. That is just the doctrine that federal law trumps, as it were, state law is supreme, that it would be unconstitutional to make him stand trial, even stand trial in the Georgia system for just doing his job. Now, there are differences between the two things he would need to show, but they're pretty similar. So basically, his argument's going to be, what, me? I was just doing my chief of staff duties. That's what I was hired to do, and make phone calls, convene folks, etc. Okay. Importantly, Monday is an evidentiary hearing. The judge in the federal court said, I can't tell from the papers, put on some evidence that shows you're really acting in this way, Mark Meadows. And so he's got to put on evidence. What's that evidence going to be? I think it's pretty darn clear it's just too big a risk for the evidence to come from Mark Meadows himself. Even if he tries very carefully to walk a thin line and just describe in bland terms his federal duties, he's going to be subject to cross-examination, and he wouldn't be able to take the fifth then if he's put himself forward. And if he tried to, if he testifies, that means he's not taking the fifth. And there's just so many really incriminating admissions that they could secure from him. And he's been successful so far in not playing an open hand, right? He gave some emails to the January 6th committee and then shut them down, was referred to contempt, but DOJ didn't do it. And we don't know the exact details of the grand jury for the January 6th case, but he definitely did it in half measures and didn't give them everything. So now he's got to put on evidence. It's his burden to show. And it's a real question what he puts on. He can use deposition testimony that's been taken in the case if it's out there. But what is it that basically he needs somebody to say, oh, yeah, good old Mark, he was just doing his chief of staff duties like X, Y, and Z. And now especially, and this is a news flash, because on the other side, there's been a subpoena issued by Fani Willis's office for Brad Raffensperger, the guy on the other side of the notorious January 2nd phone call where Trump says, I just need 11,780 votes. That was a sort of dead center overt act and in fact, criminal action that advanced the racketeering conspiracy. And Meadows is all over that. Meadows is on the call with Raffensperger is going to be able to testify. Yep, Meadows called me up. Yep, Meadows was pushing this way and that in his Meadows kind of, more soft pedaling way than Trump's, overbearing braggadocio. But still, that's what's going to happen. So you have a hearing Monday where I don't know what Meadows is going to put on. And Fani Willis has some good evidence to put on. And the final point here, the stakes for Meadows are enormous. He loses this and he's back in state court and tried under Georgia state law. He has most successfully, maybe of everyone, navigated this incredible slalom course and so far arrived near the finish line without having fallen. But this is as bad as it gets. He's subject to really a lot of the the substantive crimes themselves, but the racketeering count, 5 years to 20 years in a Georgia state prison. He is really all of a sudden very exposed. He didn't make a deal in the federal system. Such a deal might have encompassed something with Fulton County. Maybe it's not too late to do it. But if he can't make this case on Monday, he is all of a sudden goes from kind of on top to kind of on bottom. One final point, a legal point, but an interesting one. There's a statute in the federal system that says federal employees can't spend their time doing politics. It's the Hatch Act. And that's going to be part of the fight come Monday, because Fani Willis has filed a brief saying this guy was doing politics. We know that's against the law. Not only is it not his chief of staff lead duties, it was actually against the law to do it. Now, Meadows, again, it'll be these sort of rhetorical fine points that he'll try to tread and say, well, I wasn't working on the campaign per se, the election, but that's different, and that's more First Amendment and the like. So will the judge see his conduct as chief of staffy or as coup fomenting? And will he see the basic task here as pushing Donald Trump's campaign through, or as just First Amendment, making sure the people's votes are counted, etc. I think he's got, it's not like Trump, and I said from the start, he's got a better shot than Trump, but I think without evidence to put on in his own, in the form of his own testimony, and with this Hatch Act impediment, he's looking at an uphill battle. And again, if he loses, man, is he hurting. And that would leave open the possibility that he goes back on his hands and knees to Jack Smith and tries to put something together, but there would only be if he gives up everything about Donald Trump, and man, does he have a lot to give up. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.